Okay, in this video we're going to look at the independent and dependent variables in situations. So first on the independent variable here. The independent variable is the way I think of it, it's the action that occurs first. So I'll call that the initial action. Okay. Okay. And the independent variable is going to be the x variable. Okay. And one important thing to remember about this is usually time is the independent variable if there's time involved in the problem. Now the dependent variable depends on the independent variable, and so it's the result of the initial action. Okay, and in these problems, this is going to be f of x. Remember, that's just y, right? Same thing. Okay, and so there's this useful kind of just sentence that we can use to make sure we identify these correctly. The dependent variable, and you can kind of insert it here, must depend on the independent variable. Okay, so let's go through some problems here and give you some examples. All right, so here we are. On this problem, what we want to do is just list the independent and dependent variable, and then we're going to actually label these axes. Okay, so Mr. Gaffey has 70 pens. Every hour, 10 students borrow a pen from him. Okay, so the independent variable right here is like what's just happening, right? And what's happening is time is going by, right? So we see every hour. Okay. So our independent variable is the number, and this is important, the number of hours. Right? You see that? And it is a quantity, right? So we want to use the number of hours. Okay, so let's go ahead and label our x-axis like that. We'll call this number of hours. Okay, and the dependent variable, well, as time goes on, what's happening? Right? Gaffey is losing pens. The way we phrase that is the number of pens that Gaffey has. Right? And so he starts with 70, after 1 hour, 60, 50. You can kind of see the pattern from there. Okay, so our y-axis, or f of x-axis, remember this is x and f of x. Okay, our f of x-axis here is, this is going to be hard for me to write, but just because I can't turn my computer, it's the number of pens. Cool. And we can check this. Does the dependent variable rely on the independent variable? Does the number of pens, so you got to answer, is this true? Does the number of pens depend on the number of hours passed? Yes, we got it. Okay, second example. So for this one, a squirrel is gathering food for the winter. It has 10 acorns already. Every foot it walks, it finds 2 more acorns. Notice time is not involved in this. Okay, so what's happening first, right? Well, it's the squirrel is walking. Sorry, I have a cat on my computer right now. Okay, what happens first is that the squirrel is walking, right? So it's walking along. So that's going to be our independent variable, okay? Number of steps taken. Okay, so this is number of steps taken. Cool. And as the squirrel is taking steps, what's happening? Well, gathering acorns, and so the dependent variable here is the number of acorns, right? Number of acorns gathered. Cool. So it starts with 10. After an hour, 12, 14, you can get the idea, 16. Okay, so we'll label this number of acorns and then gathered. Okay. So that's the idea. Just notice that for all of these are quantities. It's basically always gonna be number of something because we're working with quantities. Okay, thanks for watching.